A kind day to you all, I am Kinsmarck, and I've returned to Dirty Bum to field test one of the new mercs recently added to the game. Phantom, a stealth operative armed with an SMG, refractive armor, and a sword, and which I've highly anticipated for some time now. So let's waste no time and cut straight to the combat. I've connected and I'm ready to cut through some enemy lines. I'll cut a swath through all of their number, and make them regret the day they ever crossed the Phantom on the field of combat.
First, repair the EV and escort it to the GH building. Then grab the drug samples from the research lab. Finally, deliver the drug samples to the container.
Yes, ma'am. And I think it's time I shed a little of the English accent, as I understand that Phantom is in fact an American kid. And I've actually very much enjoyed watching some of the merc profile videos released for each of the new mercs. So let's see here. Let's familiarize ourselves with his equipment. SMG, a revolver sidearm, and how do I... There we are. I have to use a key to select his sword. And I actually really like the art direction of the way that his entire aesthetics just look. Alright, let's close on her. Alright, yes! Finish him! Sweet. So his cooldown is refractive armor, and I've already encountered a couple of enemy phantoms in my own time, and I've noticed, as you can see there in the distance, that you can still make out a sort of shaded silhouette of a cloaked phantom. And I like that. It means he's not entirely overpowered in terms of his stealth capability. However, it means that, especially sitting still, and especially in shaded areas, he is in fact very difficult to detect, and as you can see, he is rather quick on his feet, and seems to have a significant parkour advantage in terms of mobility. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Alright, let's cloak up and see if... Uh-oh, nope, nope. Stab! Ah! Alright. I'm used to playing a very conservative and reserved character. I'm not so used to combat at such close range in this game. So he'll take some adjustments in terms of my usual style. However, I look forward to it. So let's see. I think I'll play him as a sort of point man, as his entire focus is combat. Whoa. Alright, this recent update very much changed the rate of fire of this particular weapon. This seems much slower, although it also seems to pack a more significant punch with each shot. So... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Alright, no, 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 I see. Alright. Switch and cloak. There we are. Let's move. Stab! Stab! Stab him! Good! Nope, nope, nope. Ah! And I've also realized that whenever one interacts in any way in combat, whether that is revealing yourself through cutting at an enemy or actually receiving an attack yourself, it removes the cloak. I guess it sort of disrupts the sort of distortion around him. Or it disturbs the field of light that's getting curved around his silhouette. I'm attempting to actually make some amount of scientific sense of it. As it is, in its name, meant to imply that it's refracting light, which is an interesting concept. So, let's see. He is not an engineer. I'll still help with that. There we are. A little help never hurts. And as it happens, you may have noticed on the main menu when I first connected, there is currently a free merc weekend, which I hope happens a little more often, as it means that for the entirety of the weekend one may now check out any merc in the game Although I think the roster is 8 per day with... Nope! Oh, I saw that! A changing 8, which will, throughout the weekend, eventually include all of the mercs present within the game. Aura, could you help, please? Oh, you have. Alright, thank you. Excellent. Aura, that poor man. He needs some help. Alright, there we are.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Whoop! Nope! Alright. I couldn't click. My weapon, it misfired. It jammed! Alright, that's what I get for relying on a gun. I am Phantom. I have a sword. As impractical as it is in the modern field of combat. If I have it, I must use it. So let's cloak, and... dodge. There we are. Hi there. How's it going? Stab! Stab! Are you friendly? Well, no. Ah! Alright. I stabbed. I did not, however, kill. So, a part of me, as I'm playing him currently, is a little frustrated at the fact that I can't one/kill any enemy, even if I sneak up on them. However, if I were on the receiving end of an encounter with Phantom, that would come across as a good thing, as it means he's not capable of simply cloaking and then just one-shotting the entire team, which is good. Speaking of... Nope! Ah, no. Ah. At least I fought him. I put a few rounds in him. And I've now watched a couple of the streams that the Splash Damage and Nexon staff that work on Dirty Bomb have hosted for the game. Notably, a couple of them with Miss Murder hosting, their community manager, and I've thus seen some of the Q&A regarding some of the future plans for this game, and one of the ones that was mentioned is the fact that they apparently have a rather significant and respectable roster of additional mercenaries planned for addition into the game, and it's apparently in excess of 20 or so, I think they said, which to me is a very good sign for the fact that Splash Damage are not planning on simply firing and forgetting, as it were, when it comes to this game. They plan to maintain a long-term curation of it and development of it with the respective additional content. Come on, come on! And now that I know, especially having played Execution Mode, a little more of what each class is really meant for and spec'd for in terms of what they can accomplish well and quickly, now I feel frustrated whenever, as an Assault class character, I'm relegated to the sorts of actions that an Engineer class character ought to do, and yet it seems as though, especially in simple objective mode, very few other players actually carry out well. So I'm starting to really favor, in my own time, playing Stopwatch and, while it was available, Execution Mode, as it seems to attract a much more calculated and objective-oriented crowd of players. And I think it actually calls out a lot more of the potential of this. Alright then. I am also considering conducting episodes for each of the major characters. I know I've spotlit several of them already, and I have my own preferences. However, I kind of think it might end up kind of fun to sort of spotlight each character in turn as they're added, and those that are already present within the game, sort of in a retrospect. And again, I like the fact that each of them, within their character reveal trailers, have received a little story to them. If I recall correctly, I think Phantom's was that he's essentially an AWOL soldier who stole his refractive armor and then went private sector merc, and now kind of thinks very highly of himself. And keeping up a little of that consistent sort of characterization throughout each of the various trailers they've released is actually fairly interesting. Alright, let's play Phantom the way he's meant to be played. Move up, move up, and nope, 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 nope. Crap! Well, killed one of them. Alright then. I need to use more of his parkour. I need to focus upon his mobility and little else. Anyway, as far as the characters are concerned, for instance, I've actually realized, as I was writing up some of the scripting for some of my conceptual coverage of certain characters, that this is actually an incredibly diverse and inclusive character roster, especially as compared to many other competitive FPS titles, as there are multiple characters of color. You've got Aura, Fletcher, Sawbones. I think that about covers it. There's Artie, who's an Asian character. I think there are, if not equal, very close to equal numbers of male and female characters. Yeah. Speaking of, there we are. Let's help her up. There we are. Come on, Proxy. On your feet. On your feet. Ah, crap. And so I'm actually very impressed with that. Especially given that this game seems to want to carry a certain amount of attitude, the fact that it can maintain that, and even cross lines of, say, sexuality and characterization, as I think it was mentioned in Nader's character story, that she has a wife at home who is very distraught at her particular choice of career. As if I recall correctly, Nader was in fact prior military who then worked a cushy desk job, and when the Dirty Bomb incident, which I assume is the entire premise of all the combat happening in the story at work here, she then returned to a combat capacity of the professional life after having already gotten married, which is kind of funny, really. And I like that. It's got a lot of charm, and it's charm that is actually spread across a very diverse set of, like, communities and, like, groups of people. So I think there's a little something for just about everyone within the ability to connect and relate to certain characters in this. For instance, as much of an asshole as he is, I kind of relate to Phantom. I like him. He's an asshole. I'm an asshole. He likes swords. I like swords. The only thing he's really missing, as far as my particular taste is concerned... Oh, I just noticed there's a meter, so I have a limited amount of time with the armor at the lower end of the screen there. Come on, come on. Ah! Man, he is actually very skilled. There we are. Alright. Whacker, I need you to get whacked. Or not. Revival is not what I had in mind. Alright. So... less than half a minute remaining. We need to escort the EV. Come on, come on, come on, come on. If no one else will, I apparently need to. Wait. It's already repaired! Ah! Alright. I need to concentrate on flanking. Flanking and stealth combat. Hit and run. Alright, 3 seconds remaining. Unfortunately, that was not a combat in our favor. Regular radiation checks are for your safety. Join today for a better tomorrow. I like these assets in the distance there. Alright. So... I should include Fragger and Fletcher in my squad to gain a little extra in the way of credit revenue. I'll also check out a little of the character profile for Phantom, since I am in fact spotlighting him for this particular episode.
I'm like a shark on land with a gun.
You're so very eloquent, Phantom. Alright then, let's see. Take a good look, because you ain't gonna see me on the battlefield. Alright then. And, here we have his stats. So 110 health, 410 speed. And have I any loadouts? Apparently I have. When did I receive that? Alright. I think that's why I probably promptly forgot about it, because he keeps the same SMG, a Desert Eagle, and a knife. Why would I want to play Phantom with a stiletto when I could play with a sword? Alright. So, that, I think, about covers this particular showcase for Phantom. So let me know in the comments whether or not you all are interested in seeing more of this game in general. I know I've covered a fair amount of it, however, I still very much enjoy it. I still host live streams for it now and again, as it's one of my favorite downtime games. I can kind of zen into a relaxed evening with it, seeing as it's one of those that I can simply focus upon and allow everything else to just sort of drain out. It's actually, in a strange sort of way, very relaxing for me. And so, while I'm not sure I've necessarily the capability of recording very many more character showcases, whether or not this will even go up while it's still ongoing at the time when you see this, as far as the Free Merc Weekend is concerned, I'll still cover mercs within the free rotation for whomever is available, or that I've already acquired permanent access to. I'm still saving for permanent access to Phantom and to Sawbones and Skyhammer, as they're kind of my favorites currently. However, I know there are a few more coming, like Phoenix, who is the man in the cloak with the gas mask and the helmet that apparently also has a prosthetic leg, so they're even bringing in, like, disabled folks as far as representation within the character roster. And again, I've only recently realized how exemplary the variety of the character roster is. There's a lot of diversity there, and that I think is very much worth applauding. And while I know there are still some criticisms and some concern over the amount of paid content within the game, I can say, at least from my own anecdotal experience, that it hasn't hampered my enjoyment for the game. I have kind of, cussed under my my commentary a couple of times over people whom I can tell have, high-tier cards, and yet none of the abilities that the high-tier cards afford really do a whole lot. It seems like those who acquire them are simply those who've spent the amount of time requisite to have acquired them in the game, and are thus just more skilled players for it. So I think it's a mistake to, accredit their performance to their card for their loadout, and not just to them for having spent the time to accrue the kinds of skills to perform the way that they do. So, anyway, I'm kind of rambling at this stage, so this concludes the spotlight for Phantom here on Dirty Bomb. So thank you all kindly for watching. I am Kinsmarck here at Last of Plus, and as always, I wish you all good gaming, and Godspeed. Bit of this game before, I barely— Oh, Jesus! Hi!